edition of What the Fuck Happens YouTube Atheist Community and other stuff as I feel appropriate to include. Something like that. Anyway, I did do the Delusions Exist Piro room thing. And it was kind of... I mean, well, this wasn't subjects I'm terribly interested in. You know, adequate enough conversation, I suppose. But anyway, it started off, it was all about trolls, and so the trolls showed up, and he just sat there and said, yeah, let's talk. He wants to talk to them. So now he's just shouting trollisms to the trolls, and it's just so stupid. I mean, I don't know why we just don't. I mean, why there's so few people who... Well, I guess it's just because the internet was basically... The whole thing was organized for the interest of, you know, 11 to 14-year-olds. And so it's not a mechanism for anybody who has a brain and wants to do anything constructive. At least, you know, it's not its primary focus. And so there's some sort of perception that there's some use to unaccountable assholes. And what's their use? I just don't understand that. I mean, you know, we could have had an internet. You know, they could have this shitternet. They could just leave this internet just exactly the way it is and just give us a dot rational, a place where we could go where you can't do any of this stuff because you'd have to be accountable. And, you know, if everybody said, fuck you, you don't belong here, then you have to leave because, you know, you've violated enough of the rules, let's just say. And there should be just basic rules. I mean, you just don't come into a room and make noises, and it's just so rude. I mean, there should be a price for that. We have prices for it on the sidewalk, and you can't just walk up to women and grab their breasts or something. You go to jail if you do that shit. Anyway, whatever. It's just there's just too few rational people on Earth, and so nothing rational is going to take place here, and it's just so depressing. Lament. Anyway, yeah, that's probably it. So what else is news? So yeah, not too much. I did these videos on the physics stuff, the last couple, and then there was the Snake Plisskenus thing, Lord and Savior guy. That wasn't a bad conversation. Yeah, you know, the value of all this stuff is just, you know, sometimes hard to find. Yeah, just because all these conversations are just kind of limited, and there's just no, there's nothing to respond to. There's just no counter argument being made by anybody. So my old fan is up to her old tricks. Yeah, she's doing some animation regarding the nature of existence, consumption part, and so that's good. She just keeps busy, which is good. So yeah, see what it all ends up. You know, it's going places and such, so it's all kind of good. Cat. So anyway, the thing I thought I would just focus on, so I don't think there's anything else I need to mention. Warble's posted a bunch of air show videos, and, you know, who cares? And Piro did the feminism stuff, who cares? Which led to the troll conversation, which is like, well, who cares again? I mean, trolls are just, they should just be killed. I mean, this isn't complicated. This is no excuse for human beings to accept and other people, like hecklers at, you know, theaters or something. They should just be shot. I mean, if somebody stands up and decides he's going to tell the people who paid money that he's more important than the person they're watching, who they're paying to see. I mean, it's just so, you know, it's just so rude. It's just like, well, yeah, why shouldn't we just agree to everybody just say, yeah, that person deserves to get shot. Fuck it. I just don't see the point in it. I mean, there should be a too stupid rule, shouldn't there? Shouldn't be, you're just too stupid. There should be some sort of rule. You're just too stupid. Will very quickly put you out of your misery, you know? Really get one of those big guns, those Eagle something or others with the 55 caliber bullets. And yeah, just blow the scum and pus that is their brain to hell. Makes sense to me. Anyway, I mean, you know them when you see them, right? I mean, you know these people who deserve a bullet in their head when you see them. It's not complicated. The rudely obnoxious, yeah. Come on. What's the big deal? Damn. And for what? Yes, to save civilization. Oh yeah, no, that's not worth saving. Anyway. I mean, it was just kind of annoying. It was me and Piero, although the conversation wasn't exactly subjects I was all that interested in, it was a rational conversation. And it just, these people decide they're going to prevent us from having a rational conversation. I mean, that's just so rude. And the fact that they can do that with impunity, free from any repercussion, is just, fuck that. That's a broken system. Anyway, so this hover blubber guy, who, sometimes pisses me off, posted this video of, called it a maggot. I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's a maggot. I suppose it is some sort of fly larvae. Looks like a caterpillar, of course. Not of course, but that's what it looks like. And, it doesn't say what it is, which is a little irritating. You should put in here somewhere, what the fuck kind of bug this is. So anyways, this caterpillar-y thing. And so it grabs these little ant-like things and chews them up while they're still alive. It just eats it alive. And it's just this little eating machine. And when it gets done, it just wobbles a little bit to knock the thing off its head. And so you can just see it has this rudimentary function. I mean, really crude function. It just sits there, lies in wait. Something walks up to it, hits one of the little hairs on its body or something. It does its little sticky glob. It just sticks to it. And then it just starts chewing. And it chews until it chews the thing up. And then it just shakes the thing off its head, and it just goes right back to doing what it was doing. So it's a simple machine. It's just this machine. It's just a physical machine. And, we could make something like that. We could make a machine that does this simple process. It grabs something, and then it squeezes its guts out and throws it away. And then it waits for something to come by and grabs it and squeezes its gut, and that's all it does. And it gets bigger as it does that, right? It feeds its metabolism, and so then another part of it is using those guts to build a new machine, or however you want to metaphor that. But that's the nature of life. This is what we came from. This is the design mechanism. It's just making machines like this. So when, like I said in that other physics video I was doing, traveling through space and all that kind of crap. And he was talking about how it's sad, sad that we can't go to some other planet and watch this happening. Watch things being eaten alive, slowly being eaten alive. See, these little mouth parts are chewing away there, probably putting some acid in there to melt its guts so it can suck them in. Charming as fuck, right? Just so fucking charming. And that's that's life. That's what it's doing. That's what we're all built to do. That's what the tools we have enable us to do, is to find fuel to build more of these little machines. And that's all it is. And, this fact that I have to even have a conversation where I say, well, gee, maybe we shouldn't think that's the most brilliant idea ever. That, that the foundations of existence are kind of crude and stupid, and that we're not here because things are supposed to be sophisticated and sing and dance and do something elegant. That everything's here because its ancestors did this really well. They snagged things and crushed them and ate their guts. That's what your ancestors were. That's what your existence is made out of. It's successfully doing that. For the sake of it. Just to say, I win. You're dead. I win. And it's just this round, of course. I mean, the next round, this guy will get to lose. He'll turn into a moth or some other kind of bug, and that bug will get nailed by a bird, and it just goes around and around, and just playing this stupid game. And this should be a conversation the human race is having in some kind of serious manner. And all I can keep doing is this is God. This is God's beautiful, wonderful design, or this is nature's beautiful circle of shit. And just glorification everywhere, not one bit of rational conversation about how this is tragic. This is Nazi-esque. I mean, Mengele didn't come up with anything worse than this. This isn't any worse than, any better than Mengele. If you tried to be sinister and nasty and a bastard, you couldn't try any harder than this thing accidentally just fell on it through the process that's required. With the system rewards. So anyway, that without that context for any of these conversations, it's just the conversations are immature. They're undeveloped. This is the conversation about what you're going to find in the universe. I mean, as I've pointed out many times, if you take away the land organisms, the evolution that took place on land, the evolution that took place in the ocean in 4 billion years didn't do better than octopus and shark. That's all that's come out of the ocean. It's nothing else. Even the snakes and the turtles are transplants. Not good. So, so that's kind of, I mean, that's the end. That's the perspective. You recognize what the game is, and then we can see it metaphored in the sense that our ambitions and our ego are just a kind of maggot. It's a kind of maggot living inside of you that drives you to this mechanism, these reflexes of need and want and desire, your passion. They're just biological mechanisms, just like these. They're just reflexes imposed on you, that happen to you, these feelings, and you're a servant to them. You herky-jerky just the way they require. And, just be smart enough to acknowledge that this is no way to, this is not a vessel you trap consciousness in. You don't trap a feeling thing in these monstrous machinery. And there's no point in, like I said, we could be liberated if we just, take the consciousness and put it in a better machine, a better vessel. But it's all delusion of fantasy anyway. You're still going to want to be doing the same thing mentally. It's still just a feeding. Give me some yummy food to snack on, whether the food is competition or literally food. Just gain these gratification points, these I'm winning moments. And those are just like I said, a contrivance. They're just built out of the biology. They're not built out of reason. They're not something your rational brain manufactures. They're something your rational brain ends up being a servant to, a slave to, this stupid pride and vanity. And I'm not saying you shouldn't wallow in it. I'm not saying you shouldn't live in it. I'm just saying we should all acknowledge that the truth is something different than what we're feeling. The way we feel our lives is not the way our lives are. The game is much dumber than our feelings will allow us to see. And so you have to use your brain now and then. You have to just be serious and say, yes, I concede. This stupid, idiotic ambition to fuck every woman on earth is just a stupid, idiotic ambition. It doesn't have anything to do with the reason. It's really, really dumb. And get over your notion that your life means something in some sort of, this is a good idea way. It's only good because you're so hungry. And your hunger, just like this thing's appetite for these little scurvy, and you wouldn't eat these bugs. You wouldn't eat their anuses like he's going to eat that bug's anus. You wouldn't do that. But obviously to him it makes sense. But it wouldn't make sense to you. It wouldn't feel good. So you're just being a slave to your bigoted sensations. Just recognize that and say, okay, that's not something to. You don't make these kind of machines. You don't make things that are slaves to these kind of feelings. It's stupid. Stop it. Stop this from just being repeated over and over and over and over and over and over. I mean, you can't even look. Here's one of the little dead previous carcasses. Here's like, I guess his as he grows, he loses his skin. You know, this is insidious. You don't glorify this. You don't say this is something you make more of. You don't say, yeah, keep it going. Put another quarter in the vending machine of pain and suffering. Come on. But the fact that this conversation, you can't have this conversation with people. It's like too foreign an idea to accept that this isn't just a metaphor for what's happening. It is what's happening. We're just consuming each other's welfare. Every time you win, somebody else is losing, right? I mean, if you're fucking the hot bitch, somebody else isn't. Is that the game you want to play? You want to make losers? That's fun? I don't think so. So anyway. Yeah, that's probably enough. I just mean, you know, I'm just lamenting that there's just no sign of any kind of rational conversation in any of this shit. It's just all irrational mush. I'll have to play this one. The real meaning of E equals MC squared. That was probably going to really piss me off. Just whatever. So anyway, that's probably enough. I don't think there's any other big news. There's really not much happening here. Just really, my YouTube verse has gotten really desert, bone dry. Nothing. It's just nothing happening. Nobody to say boo to. But anyway, so I suppose that's good. I have a lot of other distractions in life, and so yeah, I probably really should. I got, you know, lots of other shit to do. So, you know, yeah, just really tired. Lyme disease thing just wears you down. Each time you get it, you do pay a price, so to speak. I'm getting old and shit. You know, I'm just tired of everything. What else I can bitch about? Troll.